Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Anime Night in the Dojo. Today's featured show, Gachiakuta, Season 1.
Yep, Gachiakuta, Season 1, Episode 21. Welcome back to the dojo. I'm Ryu. Sage. We're back for more Anime Night in the Dojo, and well, last week we had... I don't even know what to call that sequence. The car sequence. Somebody's bingo card won them like $50 million.
We went full Bundus.
Pretty much. So that pretty much took it down for the whole episode outside of the serious stuff, which, you know, he was jamming their collars and stuff like that potentially, and how all of his arms potentially have versatile, you know, functions to them, like, you know, Jabber's claws that we talked about, that kind of thing. Because if you look closely at some of his arms, they had numbers on them and lettering, so they probably all do something slightly different, like the ones that got bigger to help them, you know, during the ridiculous action sequence. So I'm sure we'll get more on him at some point, but for now, the Trash Beast is trying to take off, and, you know, Zodal is trying to do something to, you know, Rudo, and it's just weird. We don't know what the deal is with the cloak yet, or the jacket, but yeah, we'll just have to see. There's all kinds of stuff on the board right now, and it's crazy. So we'll just have to see what happens. Will we get a kaiju battle? Who knows? There's all kinds of stuff going on, so we'll just have to see what comes of this. But yeah, lots of cool stuff going on. And what do you guys think the over/under is on whether they show that cool tornado again? They really wanted to show that thing off last week. I can tell you guys that much. So either way, yeah, there's not really much more that we can say going to this one when we pretty much talked it out last week. So we're just gonna push some buttons and get going here. So people on Patreon, we'll see you on the other side of the edit for the timer reaction, and people on YouTube for the discussion and review. And if you're looking for either and or the other, it is in its respective place, and the links are where they need to be. There you have it. So anyway, we're gonna get going here. So we're gonna push some buttons and get going. So yeah, there goes something. Well, alrighty then, there you guys have it. Sometimes you just get lucky. It's that simple. If you don't pick a direction, then you're never going to find your friend. So you might as well just go for it. You could one-shot it like Engine did. Why not? And as per what Rio said, he drilled a path for the rest of them to follow. If you see a giant hole that, you know, is umbrella-shaped, Engine was probably there. You know what I mean? So that's definitely one of those things. Luck is in fact a skill. Deal with it. So that's all we need to know about this entire situation. You just have to go for it. You know what I mean? If you don't ever pick a direction, then you're never going to find anything. So either way, fairly interesting sequence. It looked like they were going to kind of maybe potentially go into like whatever Zodal is capable of doing with the jacket, but it seems kind of like first tertiary, just random throwing stuff at the wall. It's kind of got like that, you know, like Iron Man suit vibe to it. You know what I mean? Like it was slowly like, you know, starting to cover his body and potentially augment his just like physical capabilities. There's nothing that you can't like argue against. Maybe it's just a simple physical enhancement. You know what I mean? Easy. It just makes him stronger, faster, more resilient, whatever. There's nothing wrong with an item that does that. Boosting your fundamentals is a big deal. You know what I mean? If your core is stronger, then that's any extras that you have are also stronger. So
Yeah, it could just be simple physical enhancement, but the fact that he keeps referring to like manipulating other things, I'd assume it's some form of like equivalent, that's like similar ability to like overhauls, where it's like he can alter or enhance things with the jacket, and that includes himself.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see if we get any more of that in this season. But it kind of feels like it's purposely being obfuscated for like a bigger reveal than his little science experiment that's going on here. You know what I mean? So this was more to showcase what Bundis was capable of, and then what Noirde is going to be capable of now that she decided to use her cooldowns. There's your other WoW joke for the day. Well, once again.
Yeah, it's like we found out apparently. Freaking Bundis, Noirde, and Japper are all just initiates in the Raiders. They're not actually full-on Raiders. It's only Zodal and Cathani that we've seen so far that are part of the actual Raider organization.
Right. Which, again, you can be a veteran giver, but still a newbie, in this case, Raider. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, no way he's a newbie. It's like, well, yeah, he's the new quarterback of the team, but he's been a quarterback for 20 years. That kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, just saying. You can be a newbie in an organization, but a veteran of whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Pick your favorite thing. You know, software engineer. Whatever. You know what I mean? Pick your favorite whatever it is. So, it's just one of those things where you can be a veteran and a newbie at the same time. It's 100% something that can occur. So, either way, how about this, Nail Gun? I'm looking forward to all the weird, out of nowhere things that Rudo's going to use just as this series progresses. Maybe we could get like a bingo card going, because so far he's used a talisman, and then now he's used a nail gun. You know what I mean? So we'll just have to see where the author decides to go with like what he's capable. Like, is he going to have like a type, or is he just going to be all over the place?
I know one of his more like iconic items is supposed to be like a vacuum cleaner.
So that kind of falls into the all over the place.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to be in Rudo's bag of tricks. You know what I mean? So that's definitely a thing we did get to see, like phase 2 of Triple R over here. So that's
yeah, the 3x form where he just puts all his power into a single item.
Yep. So it will be interesting to see how just how the gloves potentially evolve, and whether, it didn't seem like his rebound was that bad yet, but there could be like aftershock later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, from what we've seen, his rebound hits the hardest when he tries to go over his limit of 3 things.
Yeah.
So, like, presumably he'll eventually be able to do like 4x or 5x kind of things, but he just needs to work on his ability to actually use the gloves.
Yep. So there's a lot of interesting things going on with the series. I appreciate everything about it. They are a fan of face with this series. We could title this the Face series.
Yeah, they're also implying that Zodal is far more of a threat than he's actually shown so far, because, like, the moment Bundis went down, he just immediately caught everyone's attention of, like, oh wait, no, there's a threat behind us.
Yeah, literally murderous intent was sensed, and he was just doing that to, like, prove a point. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, just pick your favorite, like, power gap feat in anime or fantasy anywhere, where it's just like,
yeah, I mean,
it doesn't matter what it is. Some of the classics are like, somebody's talking mad shit about you, and then all of a sudden you're just standing behind him like, did you say I was slow or something because you didn't see me move? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just kind of typical power dynamic shenanigans of, they're all struggling to fight Bundis, and if Bundis is the newbie, then what are Cathani and freaking Zodal's power scalings?
Right. Which, again, kind of dubious in a way, because, Bundis could be fairly close to them in power scaling, you know what I mean? But it's just, we'll just have to see, like, what their deal is, you know what I mean? So, Again, it's that newbie raider, but he's been a giver for decades at this point.
At least 40 years, because he said his sixth hand he got at 40, and we know he has a seventh hand because he commented about the whole he's keeping a spare.
Yeah.
While he had the other 6 fighting them. So presumably his seventh hand was sometime after 40, so he's definitely past 40.
Yep. So once again, I talked about how like he was going to be like there's no way his arms weren't going to be versatile in some nature, because they were already kind of teasing that with, you know, the little pinky guy here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was like the first indication of like these things have to be more than just big arms that he can punch with. You know what I mean? Or do things that arms can do.
Yeah, which, like he said at the end there, it's not a case of like him having multiple instruments. It's just he's got one instrument with a bunch of different powers and iterations to it that he's worked on for. Like I said, he got his first arm at 18 and 6 was 40.
Yep. So, versatility was the name of the game there, and even with his vital instrument in rough shape, not destroyed, just rough shape, he was playing goalie here, and he succeeded because Rudo's shot went wide right. So, you know, Rudo lost on penalty kicks today. Real bummer. So, pretty much everything I expected out of Bundus. You know what I mean? I have no notes. Exactly what I expected and wanted. 0 notes. Very cool. So.
Yeah, like I said, Kathani and Zodal are probably going to be a lot bigger deals, just because we know they power over Jabber, and we got Serious Mode Jabber in this whole thing here. And Serious Mode Jabber is probably relatively on par with Serious Mode freaking Bundus here.
Yep. So.
And once again, like I said, we know Jabber's constantly going off about how Zodal is way stronger than him and beats the shit out of him every time he fails. And we already saw Kathani manhandle him that first time.
Yep. So, lots of interesting stuff on the table here. The sequences here are great, obviously. What's there to say? Versatility. In real versatility form. You know what I mean? So, gotta appreciate that. Rudo's amped up stuff. That was cool, too. Zodal going from nonchalant to serious. Just like that. You know what I mean?
Right back to nonchalant. Just like casually
on off. You know what I mean? It's hilarious. Portal. Yeah. Just really? You're gonna do Tranquilo on me? Are you serious? Unbelievable. So yeah, just on, off, on, boom. Or in this case, off, on, off. Whichever one you prefer as a default state, I guess. It doesn't matter which way you're flipping the light switch. It was boom, boom, boom. So yeah. But once again, we got another just glimpse into how Rudo is always going to feel for every piece of equipment, or in this case, trash or vital instrument, whatever it is. Things that he doesn't want to see broken because he wants to fix everything.
Yeah.
So, in this case...
Well, again, he's not a giver, he's a fixer.
Yeah, so at a certain point, this could be something that, you know, Engine will probably talk to him about, of like, hey, we know you want to fix everything and don't want to see things broken and thrown away, but you can't project your feelings onto your enemies' things. You know what I mean? Because that could be a deadly misstep at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah, because, like, for example, we saw here, like, they all wrote Bundus off as being friggin' out of the fight, but friggin' his vital instrument is still functional, even if it's in rough shape.
Yep. So then you just, walk it off, keep the core intact, and then get the okay, fine, screw you face. You can put that one on the wall. So, life lesson right there. So hopefully he learned from that experience, and well, hopefully he won't get lightning rotted because Norade has entered her cooldown form and looks like a JoJo's character. Even more so than she already did. So props to that. Yeah, she was already very JoJo's, and now she's looking. She's gone from the stand user to the stand. She's her own stand.
Yeah, she quite literally let her hair down. That's the whole thing. Was she got rid of her braid and is letting her hair flow freely now.
Yep. So that's spooky. It'll be interesting to see what comes of this. So the end of season 1 here is quite impressive, and we've still got 5 episodes left. So
Yeah, I still imagine that this fight is going to start off as an actual fight, but then get sidelined by Guida just suplexing the damn freaking trash beast out of the sky.
Yeah, something like that. Once again, I will be surprised if her thing isn't gigantification of some kind, something. You know what I mean? Or maybe she can match the size of something like that. Whatever.
Yeah, gigantification, mech suit, something.
Yep.
Something kaiju battle.
So, she's not just going to say that and just not. You know what I mean? So there's no possible way that they would tease that and then not do it, right?
I mean, once again, her vital instrument is a freaking kaiju kikurumi.
Yep. So I'm just saying, we're looking right at it. And like I mentioned at the end of the reaction, do not sleep off a concussion. I'm super serial, you guys. Okay? Don't do it. If you can't seek medical attention, ice your head and stay awake. You think you have a concussion. Super serious. The worst thing you can do is go to sleep. Okay? Just my favorite thing is you know when people spray their cats with the water spritzers? Do that to your own face. You're falling asleep, just spritz your face. That's a good one. So whatever it takes to stay awake. Just there's your medical advice for the week. Shouldn't have to tell you guys that concussions are bad, and tearing your ACL means you can't use your knee for a while. So anyway, some pretty cool stuff is still coming, it looks like, and there hasn't been a lot of down in this season, which is impressive. So that's usually pretty hard to do in a 2-core. You know what I mean? It's then you end up with season 3 of Slime, where 8 episodes are a meeting, and then they make a third wall breaking joke about it because Ramirez is ridiculous. So, it's one of those things that's hard to keep going, and the longer that it does keep going without you kind of need those ebbs and flows of storytelling to allow the reader and or the watcher, the fan, time to cool off for a while. You know what I mean? Because if you're always riding that high, there's no break, and you kind of need those breaks to just kind of break it up, and that's why it's called a break, obviously. But you have to be able to come down from the high basically for a little bit, because then the crash that could inevitably happen is so much worse.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing with horror and suspense. There needs to be that build up and release. You can't just constantly be being chased by something, or you just get numb to it.
Yep. Or you end up like Valentino and has been, and end up edging way too long. So
it's the longest I've ever edged.
I know. So either way, another great episode, and that's all I got. But it was everything that it needed to be. It's creating intrigue. It's doing a thing. It'll be interesting to see what Rudo's collection of things he's used by the end of season 3, that kind of thing, wherever we get. But there's plenty of source material to get to.
And we also still don't know what he still has, because like he said he only had like 2 or 3 things left, and we saw the nail gun here, but he still should have at least one more thing in his bag.
Right. So either way, well done. So you got anything else, Age?
Kaiji battle.
Indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube, beyond ever watching, as always, we appreciate you stopping by and hanging with us here in the dojo for more Anime Night in the Dojo. And this was Gachiakuta, Season 1, Episode 21. So, have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. Have a good one. See you next time.
Hey everyone, Victoria here. If you enjoyed the video, please consider pushing those like and subscribe buttons. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks again for your time, and we hope to see you again in the future.